you guys think I'm not out here doing the work and doing my research, you are wrong. You think I'm not going to bring it to the community every chance I get? Vote me out. I don't care. I'm still going to do it. Vote me out. I'm going to do more. I'm really going to stick it to you. I'm going to be at everything. Okay? I'm really going to stick it to you now.
I don't want apologies and performative gestures. I want change and not Dr. Maya Angelou on the back of a quarter. I want change, laws, and policy.
I'm not sitting here to make friends or tell lies or act like we can do better and I'm doing better. Because we can do better, we can do more, but we got to tell the truth.
I don't care if you bring down a statue, but can you codify a statute that ensures my right to vote, my right to vote, my right to vote, my right to vote.
Freedom made free when there's no truth. Freedom made free. They're selling me and they're selling you. Freedom made free when there's no truth. Freedom made free. They're selling me and they're selling you.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Civil Disruption. I'm D. Moss.
I'm Tracy Whitfield. I was a little slow on the cue, D. It's the first day back in a while, you know. So we just want to welcome people to the show. D, let's give some reminders about civil disruption, what it is, what it ain't, real quick, just for new people. So we are practicing the discipline of disruption, which is organizing, educating, and activating, or educating, then organizing, activating. Kind of, Daryl, tell them what you told me about what we had to do first and where we're at in the process now.
Okay. Well, where we're at, it's all about making sure that we educate. Educate means building awareness, creating a shared understanding and a shared vision. We need to all be moving in the same direction. And in order for everybody to understand that, it's like putting together a puzzle. We want to make sure that people see all the puzzle pieces, make sure they're aware of all the options, so that we can create an educational type of situation where people are aware of what's going on. That's the first step. We got to educate. Second step is mobilizing, turning awareness into energy and taking that energy and getting everybody like amped up and ready to do whatever it takes to make sure that we move forward an agenda that's going to be beneficial to our community. And I think at the end of the day, that's the end all to be all, making sure that our families are straight, making sure that we're protected politically, making sure that our values are reinforced culturally, making sure that we're moving forward spiritually. And in order to do that, we got to educate folks and we got to mobilize folks to do that. The next step would be to organize. Organizing is when you're building the structure, when you're reminding people that we're not looking for personalities to be leadership. We're looking for everybody to take leadership roles depending on what's going on. It's about creating a sense of leadership, identifies who shows up consistently, who's influencing others, who's doing the research. That's the organizing part. The final step is the action step, where we start applying pressure and creating social and political change that would benefit us economically. So all those steps are critical. And once we do that, we can create change. We can get the change that we want.
Absolutely.
Last couple of decades, a lot of us have spent time, myself included, pointing fingers at the theys of the world. They are not doing this and they are not doing that. And the only thing Tracy and I are saying is we are the they. It's us.
Right. We are the they.
That's my snapshot dissertation.
All right. I love it. Also, Daryl, I just want to add, we got to be intentional in what we're doing. We have to challenge these norms, these harmful norms, the systems, the narratives, especially about Black people. This is a Black-led movement, idea, and voice to interrupt business as usual. We're going to do it on every level, municipal, state, federal, and within families. Like, there are norms that have to be changed in corporate and nonprofits. There are systems changes that have to take place. This is nonviolent, but it is intentional. And we will expose inequities. We will challenge entrenched systems. We're going to do all those things to advance our social, political, and economic justice for us. so we can grow as a people. And so that's how we are going to continue to move. We're going to keep educating. We're going to keep organizing, and we're going to keep activating. And we need all of you to get involved. You put something on Facebook today that I really liked, Daryl, when you talked about leadership, because a lot of times I get a lot of messages about, you're the leader, what are you doing? You know, and so I like what you put on Facebook today, that leadership does not come with a title. We are all leaders in our own right. We all have something to offer. We all have something to give. And I know the title, with the title comes more responsibility, but it doesn't mean that you're less of a leader than me because I have a title. I just went for a position and got it. Hence the title, right? We can all do that if we want to, if that's our calling. But true leaders are behind the scenes helping us get to where we are, where we need to be. Like, you're a leader in your own right, but in my campaign, when I first started, you was all the way behind the scenes, but you made sure I had the knowledge that I needed to be successful. And to be a good leader behind the scenes, not needing the public recognition, I mean, that is very humbling and it's very needed. And I am grateful for people like that. So yeah, I wanted to say those things real quick. And thank you, Daryl, for personally, even through this situation that we'll get into in a minute, being behind me and just like the article that you wrote, I didn't know they were coming. I didn't tell you to write anything. I didn't ask you to write anything. I mean, this came from your knowledge and your heart. And so when you and the Hearst came forward, and Desi Jackson and Julian, and just like the community, oh my gosh, the community came out so fierce, so sharp. And I want to tell everyone that dropped a message to me, people I did not know of all races, all backgrounds, color, creed, sexual orientations, all just like so many people came out and supported me. I did not even realize that many people even like follow me or watch me or anything like that. And it was so like what I needed at the time, because I was a little bit, I was distraught. I was hurt. I was I don't want to say broken, but a little bit cracked because it was hurtful. It was hurtful. And we will get into that. But I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for your support from the bottom of my heart. It meant everything. I never even knew I had support out there like that, D. But you, my dog.
What I do?
You that guy. You that guy. You Justin Hearst. Rick Hearst, Margie Hearst. That whole point of view. I mean, if people haven't seen the point of view yet,
go read the point of view.
I mean, really read it.
You pushing the point of view. I said, oh, abso-friggin-lutely. You mentioned the part about the community, man. It's like it was one of them things you read about.
Yeah,
but to experience it and watch everybody galvanize around you, there was no what's so dope about our community is, and it's so crazy because people a couple of weeks ago, about a month or so, we talked about historic organizational efforts. Then people talk about the Big Five. We talk about MLK. We talk about Ralph Abernathy. We talk about Dave White and all those folks, not realizing that the March on Washington, all those major city municipal boycotts, they were organized by folks just like the ones who were hitting you up on social media and sharing posts and putting out information. Man, listen, I found some brilliant brothers and sisters in our community. Some of the things they were writing, I was like, ooh.
I know. Even like I had made a post about Charles Stokes because we battle sometimes. We be at it. One thing he said to me is like, I can come for you, but can't nobody else come for you. And and I was like, well, I don't know if that's a thank you, but thank you, because he stood up publicly when others in positions that you think will stand up for you publicly don't. He did, and so I definitely appreciated that. And so many others like that just really stood up. Brian Thomas, oh my goodness, he went in. He was talking about it everywhere. He had my bad. Brother Johnny, like so many people, I don't want to miss people by calling people out, but I still feel it emotionally.
I haven't met him in person. Your man Wadi.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Wadi Jenkins?
Yo, listen, his posts were like, listen, man, there were some people, and it's kind of like people go, well, that's social media. Nah, because a lot of those people back that stuff up physically in person, wherever they were at, on the streets, the barbershops, the salons, the supermarkets. People were talking about it, and they were pushing other people to get involved and being aware. So for like, anybody who attempts to devalue what took place during that 3 or 4 weeks period,
oh my God!
When you have an entire municipal system coming at you and attacking you, that's different than having me and Tracy don't get along. When you have the mayor, city council, city solicitor, and all these other folks, your fellow councilors coming for you,
oh my God!
Listen, what they didn't expect, because they put out all that drama, and the media coming for you.
Yeah, the media. They definitely went from the perspective of those people in the administration per usual. But not all media, because Metro Record and Point of View, baby.
I wish I had Justin Hurst. I wish I had his quote queued up. I would play it right now.
I know, right now. Oh my goodness. And then we got
not all. You got to read the Point of View and the Metro Record. But I ain't gonna go read it for you. Yo, it was so dope, because for anybody who's aware of what took place politically like the last 15 years, for some reason, although we were heading in the same direction, there was a lot of friction between Mr. Hurst, Justin, myself. And it's kind of like, man, it's amazing when people come for one of our own, the way that we all come together. It's like old beefs. You forget, it's like family things. Like Stokes said, it's like, and we have to remind ourselves of who we are culturally.
Yeah. And I knew in my heart we could do it. I always was like, no, we're going to get this thing right. We're going to get this thing together. I am appreciative for people like Cynthia Davis, who's working behind the scenes to get our organization really structured so we can be able to move together. And I also wanted to say, D, like I went to, I forgot the new Level 5's name, but I went to their like soft launch. And when I say I walked in that room and everybody from the old to the young, people I knew, didn't know, that knew me, ready. They are all ready in this moment to organize. I went from there to White Lion, walked in the room, everybody ready from the old to the new, whether they get along or not, everybody is ready for this moment. And so that's God's plan. And it just sparked the moment for us we cannot let this die down now, because this is the moment and the momentum that we've been waiting for. I'm going to say this, and I am 51 years old, and I never felt the togetherness in the Black community as I feel right now.
I did.
You probably did, but I didn't. Not like I feel, except when I was younger, growing up on Mama Street, and all of us were like family.
Remember when they came for when the city came for Victoria Row? I know when I was terminated, man. Let me tell you, the love I got from my community. When people say, we ain't unified, I'm like, yo, kill the noise. We are. When you do right, people will support you. When you move with no malicious intent and you ain't out to destroy folks, our community comes together in a way. Again, we have to remember who we are culturally. You know how the cousins are? I'll fight you. But the minute somebody else tries to fight you, I've seen our community come together so many times, and it's like we have to continue to give people reasons, good, bad, whatever. Just people need to remember that we can always come together. You're not coming for us. Mike Fenton, you tried it. You lost again. Victor Davila, you tried it. You lost. The elected official who said he's not a Black elected official, he just happens to be an elected official who's Black, you tried it. Dominic Sarno, Steve Bonacotti, y'all tried it.
But what they meant for evil, I keep saying that God turned for good, because we are about to do this thing. We're about to mobilize so we can change the structure of the city of Springfield. It's been 20 years. I was on the budget hearing meeting today, and the mayor made a comment of something that they always done for 20 years. And I'm like, just because it's always been done that way doesn't mean it's right. That's why we're in the position that we're in right now, because it's been over 20 years that we've been doing things the same way over and over and over again. And people got to wake up. It ain't about, okay, the mayor did this one thing for me 10 years ago. He helped my family 7 years ago. It's not about your personal relationship. It's about the betterment of the city of Springfield. It's about the betterment of the community. And so we got to get past that singular act that was done. That's his job. Everybody expects me to help, right? It's my job. That's what they voted me in for. It's the same type of situation. He helped you because he was supposed to help you back in the day. But where's the help now? Are we still getting the same level of help? Is our city growing? Is our economy growing? Or are we losing businesses? Like, it's like we really got to look at the dynamics of where we are, and we got to keep it moving. You know, we got to get moving.
Absolutely.
And the way to move is we are going to mobilize together, and we are going to make these changes together. And it's going to be a unified act that we are going to do together. So I know I can be on this grateful soapbox for a long time, D, but I did want to tell you the word of the day if you're ready for it.
I'm ready for it.
Okay. It's duplicity. Deceitfulness, or being intentionally two-faced, especially when someone hides their true intentions or act dishonestly. So just being deceitful and being intentionally two-faced. That's what I got of it. Intentionally two-faced. Like these people were plotting the whole time, smiling up in my face. You know, I still got a job to do. I still got to work with them. I'm gonna do my job. But now I see your whole being.
And the beautiful part is people were exposed to the possibility as we talk about leadership in terms of how to continue leading and remaining a sense of objectivity, a sense of fairness, sense of neutrality. With, you know, despite everything you were going through, you could have went live. You could have, there's a number of things you could have did, and you could have been really subjective, but you didn't. You were objective. The whole entire time, people, that's leadership. When we say that, well, you know, give me a role, give me a model that I can use to base leadership off of. Man, we can look nationally. We got Jasmine Crockett. We can look locally. We got Tracy Whitfield. Not saying that to, you know, stroke your ego. You know, you may have been melting under the surface, but other than that, you kept your cool. You kept your calm. You had, you know, rational, logical, chill-tempered conversations with your colleagues throughout the entirety of this. You didn't pull no race card, none of that. You know, so that's dope. And I say that, you know, for all the folks who are viewing, you don't have to be a city councilor, mayor, state rep, or a state senator to conduct yourself like that. When we move with intelligence, we're dangerous. We're even more dangerous. And I think they expected everyone to do what we've done in the past and start, you know, there was some folks who started on that, you know, well, she should get herself together. And then, man, before I can go and comment, there was 50 people commenting and checking.
Oh my gosh. Like Shayla was on Western Mass News going at everybody, just giving it to them. Angela Thorpe, like so many people were doing that. I can't even, and I don't even go on the media sites and read the comments too much, but people were like, you got to go look at how people are fighting for you. What's his name? Josh. Like so many people were doing it. And I am so grateful. A little bit, I want to talk about what the resolution meant, you know,
let's get into the agenda of the show. Let's go for it.
Okay, let's go for it. So basically it was in the media what happened. I did make an error. I was supposed to step down from the city council podium when Jets Property Development, which was my company and my son is a part of the company, he was coming for a discontinuance of a street. I was going to recuse myself from the vote. I did not realize that I was supposed to step down on a deliberation. Now, this was only my second city council meeting. The first one was all love, getting sworn in, doing all the niceties, and I had one more after that. So this was only my real second city council meeting, and that was a mistake. And Mike Fenton, I think he waited 12 minutes when he knew in the beginning. So that was kind of like planned. And he was the past president. He always like, if you need help, ask. So you didn't think to help me in minute 1 or 2. Okay. Anyways, so I stepped down. I immediately call ethics. I immediately send an email to the law department asking for solutions for me. Now, there's a lot of ethical things going on in City Hall. I worked in finance. There's a few that I could name publicly, but I won't right now. But there are a bunch of ethical things going on. I'm pretty sure they have a bunch of ethical complaints, but what they didn't do is send them all to the media like Steve Bonacani did for mine. And so it went out of proportion in the media. I called ethics before anybody did. I sent ethics a written testimony even before Steve Bonacani did. So if ethics is going to investigate, they are not investigating right now. So I'm not under investigation. That's another thing. Third thing that I want to point out is what a resolution is. So we write resolutions all the time. We write resolutions to the governor. We write resolutions to other elected officials like state reps and things like that. A resolution only is a statement. It has no legal teeth to do anything. So when they put the resolution for a vote of no confidence out, people like Brian McFarland and all those guys was giving false information on Facebook, talking about, oh, this is going to be bad for you. You're going to step down. But then in the next sentence say, but I like you. No, you don't, because you're trying to create a narrative that's false and not true. And I'm not going to let that slide. I had to say that, and I mean that. You are not my friend. You don't like me. And a resolution only is a statement. That's all it is. Even if it passed, it doesn't give the city council the teeth to make me step down. That would have had to be a personal choice. Okay. If I step down. So that's where we are, D. And then the other point I wanted to make is because there was a narrative going down around about Victor Davila saying that I endorsed Mary Johnson. I went to lunch with Mary Johnson. I like Mary Johnson.
Tracy,
hold on. I just want to say this because
I wouldn't even bother with that.
I know it's going around. But what I wanted to say is when I have endorsed somebody, you would know. Like when I endorsed Justin, you knew. It said endorsement. So I don't want that to be his excuse for being his reason, because he know that that wasn't factual. When I endorse Mary Johnson next time, he will know it. So that's why I had to put it out there, because he wants to have an excuse, and I'm not going to let that be it.
You know what? And for those who voted for him, should you happen to see this video, understand that real leadership doesn't engage in petty retaliatory efforts. It doesn't matter. As a professional, it doesn't matter who you endorse. For him to come back and be that venomous because he assumed that you voted for someone else, you want to talk about an ethical issue? That's an ethical violation. So it's like, to even, for me, to hear someone even to adjust that his trivial justification for coming after you publicly is ridiculous. I think I know why they came after you, and I think I put it out there.
Do you want to put it out there again?
Yeah, the bottom line is the mayor is sick, folks. Again, not wishing ill upon anyone, but it is what it is. I've had numerous family members who have transitioned due to cancer. He has cancer. It is serious. They're concerned that should he have to step down, what they do not want is a Tracy Whitfield to be city council president. Should he have to step down, the city council president becomes the interim mayor until a special election is held. During that period of time, there could be a lot of changes. The bottom line is they don't want her in that position. Mike Fenton, way back when he was going to run against Mayor Dominic Sarno, was told by Richard Neal and members of the Irish community that it wasn't his time yet. That was an actual conversation. So he's been waiting patiently on the sidelines, thinking that he has enough political support to run for mayor and win. Not the case. Melvin Edwards, Victor Davila, they're peons. They're pawns in this game. They were used to present this issue to the public. Mike Fenton never wants to come out looking like the bad guy. You want to talk about, what's the word, duplicity? He is that guy. This isn't his first time coming after someone black, specifically a black woman. Let me make that very clear. This is not his first time. The last time he did it, he hid behind the late Henry Twiggs. This time he's hiding behind Melvin Edwards and Victor Davila. Mike, be a man. Step up. If you really want to challenge, if you really feel as if you want to debate this issue and have it out and talk about your position and positioning within the city of Springfield, your positioning within the black community, I'd be more than happy to have you come on. I would be more than happy to have this conversation with you and debate what you've been doing behind the scenes to negatively impact the quality of life for black people. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
There are always reasons. And it's not, it had nothing to do with your issue the day dealing with Jets. It had nothing to do with that. Dominic is also mad that you testified against him. They're going to hold that against you for a minute. So I'm just throwing it out. It is what it is, and people need to be aware of that. They need to be upset about that. The bottom line is, Councilor Whitfield is just trying to conduct business as usual. Everything else that she has done has been exemplary. Period.
Yeah.
They
don't like to be challenged, and I'm a challenger. I'm a challenger. I'm a disruptor, civilly. I'm not trying to do anything wrong or illegal, but I'm not a go along to get along type of gal, nor have I ever been. I don't know who this Don Silverman is, but he texted me a couple times saying he was going to be at the city council meeting. I don't know if that's a threat or what you're doing, but just keep giving us some proof.
He's about 150 years old. He's a very different, weird type of guy. I wouldn't, again, me personally, I wouldn't even. Anyways, this is Civil Disruption with D. Moss and Tracy Whitfield. So there are a number of
questions. If there's anything you want to know, we're open, willing to ask. We started a little bit late. We do have families and family issues come up, and people got to get their hair braided and things like that. So, we're gonna be on Thursdays, but the time might vary. So we just wanted to throw that out there as well. But yeah, duplicity. I had to be like intentionally deceitful and two-faced. It like people will smile in your face and then stab you behind the back. And Ed Shoemaker said they will watch you mess up and purposefully not tell you so they can use it against you. This is exactly what they did to what is that name? Tanya Fernandez Anderson. When she hired her sister to work for her, she introduced her to other counselors as her new staff and her sister. And those same counselors turned around and went to the Herald when they could have just pulled her to the side and educated her. Yeah,
For those who don't know, there is an event coming. Oh, before I get on to the announcements and everything, Tracy, what else do you have anything else on the agenda? Things that we definitely need to discuss.
Yeah, I just wanted to say the vote of no confidence did not pass. Maria Perez also voted for it. In the back of my mind, I won't forget that. It wasn't a mistake. This has been talked about. I think Gladys could have worded it, if you're for the resolution, vote yes. If you're not, vote no. It would have been that simple. But the way she worded it was difficult. And I also wanted to circle back to a time that Mike Fenton was harsh on another Black female, is when Tashina Davis was our attorney. Tashina made very little mistakes. But when she did, he publicly said something to her in the city council meeting That has not been happening with the current clerk. And he did it a couple of times that made me feel uncomfortable. And so he felt uncomfortable with me, and I felt uncomfortable with him in those moments. And he hasn't done it to this current clerk. And mistakes have been made. I mean, quite a few actually since I've been president, and I've only been president since January. So that's 3 times. So yeah, it didn't pass anyway. So the people who voted for it were the 3 plus Maria Perez, and then the others did not vote for it. Jerry happened to not be there, and offer my condolences to Jerry Martin and his family for his father's passing. But Jerry has been solid so far, doing a great job, and yeah. So
that's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
And kudos to all the counselors who supported you.
Yes.
You know, you got to give them credit.
We can't leave Justin out. Can't leave Justin out. I mean, bravo. Bravo, Justin. Bravo, Mrs. Hurst. Bravo, Mr. Hurst. Bravo.
I don't know how many times I watched that video clip.
I
don't know how many times. I think I saved it. I'm going to keep it, and I'm having a bad day. I'll probably just turn it on and watch it. It was, he came with receipts, and he shared each and every one of them perfectly. That's all I'm going to say. Kudos to Marlo Brown, who stood behind you 100%. Got to shout out Marlo.
Yes,
you know,
Marlo.
That's a good look.
LeVar, he stood. Yep. He made his comments about what his mom taught him. So, you know.
Oh, no, absolutely. Listen, man, people get critiqued when it's time to be critiqued.
Zeta. Oh my gosh.
People are applauded when it's time to be applauded. I mean, that's just how it is. You know, it's not even, you know, kudos to LeVar. I'm proud of you, man. I'm glad you did that. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah. And Zeta came out with the Good Old Boys Club and gave the definition and said the Good Old Boys Club was started by white men. So when white people get upset about the term Good Old Boys Club, it was started by straight white men. Be mad at them.
Which is the reason why they call it the Good Old Boys Club. I mean, it is what it is. And, no, I got to say something about Melvin. To watch him talk about the Black experience, who's qualified to speak on the Black experience and who isn't, and how he felt offended because of the way he was being called out by the Black community. Melvin, I can't even say brother. Melvin, the way you conduct yourself, the way the impact you've had on our community has been extremely adverse. And it's just, bro, you're not in a position to speak on the Black experience. I challenge you to come on. We can have that conversation. We have a cordial conversation about it. I was offended when you spoke. As I watched it on Comcast, I was offended. And I talked to quite a few people who were offended. It's like, dude, you cannot portray yourself as a neutral Negro, and then you want to come out, you know, with a fairly, I'm absolutely Black on issues type of counselor when, you know, when the heat is on. Let's not do that, man. I say consistency is everything. Stay in the lane you're at. Stay where you are. That's not from Tracy. That's for me. Stay in your lane.
I mean, it's like he was like, the only ones who really attack me are my people. But you're always on the attack of your people. And then you want us to stand behind you. I don't know how that works like that. You know, you're not standing up for us. You're not.
Stevens, just cut it out. So with that, let's go on to something positive.
All right. Let's move on. So we're activating, we're educating, so we can get active in this thing. If you want to be involved, hit us up, put your name in the chat, so you can get involved. We want everybody involved, every age. We just want you to get involved, Black community. So we talked about the word. Mm-hmm.
Can we point out, and people need to understand that we were talking about organizing our community before this situation even occurred with Tracy.
Yes,
People need to understand that We were already having the conversations. We talked about leadership. We talked about accountability. We talked about capacity models within our community and how to map capacities. We talked about what deficit model is in terms of what to look for and how we should be correcting things in our community. We got to the part about organizing our vote and understanding how powerful the Black vote is in Western Mass, specifically in Springfield. We are a powerful voting bloc. There are a lot of groups that are not voting, but we vote. So we were talking about, organizing that vote. But to do that, we were trying to educate on a number of other issues when the situation with Tracy came up. So just so people understand, because someone said, are you guys doing that because of what happened with Tracy? No, we were already doing this.
We're already doing it.
But as Tracy, as she had stated earlier, things happen for a reason. So for those who couldn't see where we were going, man, listen, God gave you all a reason. He just opened the door and gave you a big, huge, beautiful picture and said, this is what we're going to deal with. And it's going to get worse. If you look at what's happening on the state level in terms of the legislation, look at the dollars that are not hitting our community. Look at the dollars that are not coming back to the Black community.
Yeah.
So we should be holding Angelo Pupolo accountable, Bud Williams accountable, Adam Gomez accountable, Carlos Gonzalez accountable, Orlando Ramos accountable. These folks show up at all the events. They shake all the right hands, all 5 of them. They laugh, they smile on our faces, duplicity. But when it comes down to the funding, coming back and positively impacting our business community, our cultural efforts, the neighborhood and family efforts, those dollars aren't coming back. We can pull up the receipts on that too. So the thing is, we talked about organizing our votes to ensure that we can put folks in the proper position to ensure that we receive the supports and the resources that our community deserves. We've been fighting way too long to not have a fair share of the resources that come down from Boston. We've been fighting too long to have a strong percentage of our families dealing with tax title foreclosure every freaking year. Over the last, I'd probably say 10 years, they probably confiscated almost $15 million worth of property. If you think I'm wrong, look up tax title foreclosure in the city of Springfield as it impacts the Black community, and look at the number of properties that we have lost. So there are a number of issues on the table. Folks, somebody said, my lawyer was like, you should talk about police brutality. We'd love to talk about police brutality. That's not the issue. The issue is the economic injustice, the economic inequity that is happening right now, right in front of us on a regular basis. So those are things that we can only address politically. And for all the people who say that, no, I don't do politics. If you get in your car, if you buy a car, you're doing politics because you're going to pay, what's the taxes for your vehicle? That's political. When you drive down the street and you tear up your struts or your wheel when you go over a pothole, that's political. When it snows and your street needs to be plowed, that's political. Your garbage being picked up, political. The trash fee, political. Almost every aspect of your life, the minute you arrive home from work, is very political. Where your kids go to school, the condition of the schools, the resources that school has. So when we say, I don't do politics, you may not do elections, but you're involved in the political process. Look at your check and look at the percentage that come out for taxes. You're very political. So stop saying you don't. What you should be questioning is, where is my percentage of all the tax dollars that our community as a collective have contributed? It's not coming. It's not coming to our community. So those are issues that we need to address. We can't address crime without addressing economic development. You can't address economic development without addressing the banking and financial institutions and how they continue to discriminate against Black business owners. We can't talk economic development without talking about the state resources that should be coming down to ensure that we can strengthen our fiscal infrastructure so that we can effectively organize our businesses and organizations. These are resources that we're missing out on because we don't think that we deserve them and that we're not entitled to them. We are.
And because we don't do politics.
Because
we either got to do politics or politics is going to do us, just like it's been doing. So, Bro Jeb said, just a word to the wise, you should not frame political calculations as support. I don't really know what that means. No one is framing anything like political calculations as support. You can expound if that's what you're talking about. But we know that people are going to be politically calculating to get what they want, but I don't really understand where you're coming from, or if we said anything like that on here. I'm not sure, but I just wanted to read that out, and I also wanted to read what Shakima Burke said.
Mhm.
I might be messing up your name. Shamika, I'm sorry. I know it's Shakina. But Shamika Burks Johnson said many people are scared to change, but if we don't change, then we're going to be in the same position that we are right now. So you can sit in your little bubble in the closet and be scared, take little crumbs or nothing that you're getting, or we can come out and face this what ecosystem of what's going on right now. This ecosystem has got to change. This ecosystem has been dominated by the same players over and over and over again. And it's time to change. It's time to get our young leaders involved. It's time to really show our young leaders, our younger leaders, how to really be leaders. Like, we can be guides for them. I'm not saying that we can hold everybody's hand or, but we have the opportunity to show them how it's done. You make a mistake, you apologize, you own it, you put corrective actions in place, and you keep it moving, because every single one of us have made mistakes and will continue to make mistakes. And that was the message that I was trying to get out to the city. So yeah, people are afraid of change, but
Folks,
not to be afraid of, what is the saying? Nothing to fear but fear itself.
yeah. And people just, and I know she's not, no, Shamika, I know she wasn't.
Oh, I know.
She's on it always. But
Yeah,
for those who are, people need to understand. It's like, I think there are people who are more, how can I say this? It's easier to attack ourselves. It's easier to attack the man you see in the mirror every day than it is to attack a system that you don't understand. Mm-hmm. It's easier to attack, for Black folks to attack other Black folks in the name of Black folks, as opposed to addressing white folks. Proximity is what it is. Proximity to them is what it is. The political climate, it always impacts Black communities disproportionately. Mm-hmm. People need to be aware of that. So it's not about, I see Brother Gab said, let me explain. It means those that supported you in 7-4 vote may not be real support. It may have been a political calculation. I absolutely agree, Brother Gab. It may be. The good thing is, it did show United Front, and they got it. She's still where she needed to be. So I agree with that. But in terms of where we are politically across history, shifts in policy around voting rights, education, housing, criminal justice, economic investment have always had direct and outsized effects on the Black community. That hasn't changed. It will not change. There are a number of issues right now that they're addressing in Washington, and we need to bring Richard Neal to address. Matter of fact, I think we should bring
The SAVE Act right now has passed the House. It has passed the House. If people don't know what the SAVE Act is, you need to look it up. It's forcing people to confirm that they are United States citizens and their identities. I remember people calling me, even from Puerto Rico, even older people that lived in the South that cannot find their documents. They can't obtain their documents, but they are born and raised Americans. They're not even, that is all voter suppression. And so we need to really do our research, and we need to hold people to the fire, because when they're voting for certain things, like what did Richie Neal vote for that day? For the guy,
he voted to support ICE and their operational activities. He voted for a day of remembrance or whatever it was for Charlie Kirk.
Yep.
Between Kirk and ICE, people act like he's a celebrity. He's a nice guy. When you see him, soft-spoken, we'll talk to you. But man, someone being, treating you like a familiar is different from someone treating you like you're familiar enough to ensure your support. Or to ensure their support. Doesn't happen. We have to worry about voting access and districting right now. It's amazing. Look what happened in Texas. Educational standards and curriculum control. They're changing up the curriculum, and no one's paying attention. We act like if we close our eyes and pretend that things aren't happening, They're not really happening. Criminal justice reform and everything that we fought for, criminal justice reform versus the rollback that's happening. Folks need to pay attention. So when you say you don't do politics, economic equity and small business access, then that gap is widening and it's getting worse.
Even like local foundations in our area, Western Mass Foundations, if you really look at who they support, they're a lot of white women-led organizations. I'm not saying these organizations aren't doing a good job. I'm not even saying that they're not supporting some of our children. But there are other great organizations out here that go to these same foundations and funders, and they don't even have a chance or a shot. You even look at the federal earmarks that came down, and you'll see the inequalities between the eastern part of the state and the western part of the state. So there's a lot. And if you don't know what earmarks are by now, the way I've been beating them in the head, they are discretionary funds that legislators have to give out to different organizations in the community. It is earmark time on the state level, and it is also a state election. It's a state election. And anybody can run as long as you're 18 years old. Criminal background, you can still run.
Doesn't require any previous experience. Let me be very clear.
None. I had no experience.
Groceries at Stop and Shop and run for state senate. Let me be very clear. You get your signatures and you're on the ballot. I'm sorry, you're saying?
There's a House as a Senate. You can run for that. Governor, lieutenant governor is up for grabs. All these things. And no one owns the seat. So if you're not happy, you know, put your hat in the ring.
Even if you are happy, put your hat in the ring. What's the worst that can happen? Because if we talk about some of the current legislators and their background and who they are, anybody can run. And I'm not trying to be negative about anyone. I'm just simply saying that's across the country, from Georgia to California, back over the back.
Look at our national leader.
Look at our president. Well, I'm sorry. Look at our president. So it's kind of like anybody could run, and we should be encouraging people to run for office.
And it doesn't always have to be office. Let me tell you, there are boards and commissions like the parole board, right? There's a cannabis commission. There's all these boards and commissions that a lot of us aren't sitting on.
No, we're not.
Because we don't, a lot of those are appointed, but there are ways to get yourself in front of the right people so you can be appointed to these boards and commissions. The ones in the city of Springfield, most of the appointments come from the mayor. That's why the same people or the people who are on these boards are still there. The planning board got a new person and he retired, and the mayor knocked on his door. The Board of Public Works, and asked him, did he want to be on this board? That's how he got on, from a friendship. But we should have some qualifications or some type of criteria to get on these boards sometimes. But that's not the case. But we need to start positioning ourselves and learning, because a lot of these boards and commissions make huge decisions for our community as well.
Yep. So there's just so much happening, and people need to be aware of it. Right now, we should be hosting debates with Jeremy Whalen?
Yeah, Jeremy
Whalen and Richard Neal, because there are a number of national issues. I'm gonna flip back to the national. I know a lot of times we can be Springfield centric, but you talked about the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. That requires, Tracy said, requires proof of U.S. citizenship, like a passport, birth certificate, to register to vote in federal elections. Critics argue that it could disproportionately impact Black voters and others who may not have easy access to that documentation. Voting Rights Act of 1965. It's been weakening. Historically protected against racial discrimination in voting. The Supreme Court decision in Shelby County versus Holden removed federal pre-clearance protections. The result, states now have more freedom to change voting laws without federal approval. Dangerous in states that have historically discriminated against Black people and put obstacles in the way of voting. John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act would restore key protections removed by shall be, requires federal oversight for states with histories.
Read slower. I can't even hear you.
I'm trying to read as slow as I can. I talk fast.
You're not. It requires.
You got jokes. The John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act would restore key protections removed by shall be, requires federal oversight for states with histories of discrimination. It's been stalled in Congress. These are things we should be talking to Richie Neal about. I'm not targeting him. He's in a leadership position. We elected him to go to DC. He needs to be held accountable. He needs to respond to all of this stuff. He doesn't address any of this. There's the For the People Act. It's proposed expanding early voting, automatic voter registration, and campaign finance reform. It didn't pass, but remains a major reference point in voting rights debates happening in DC now. On the criminal justice and policing strata, George Floyd Justice and Policing Act proposed banning chokeholds. There's a proposal which would ban chokeholds, limiting qualified immunity and creating national policing standards. It passed in the House, but is currently stalled in the Senate. There's the First Step Act, bipartisan reform aimed at reducing recidivism and adjusting sentencing laws. It expanded early release programs and prison reform efforts. There's the Education and Cultural Policy. There's the Stop Woke Act. Restricts how race and systemic inequality can be taught in schools and workplaces as part of a broader national trend around limiting certain discussions of race. On social media, you can barely mention race without being censored out. So in the classroom, they're changing the curriculum. He will talk about historic revisionism. They're changing the story of slavery. They're changing the story of the impact of Blacks, in the United States of America. They're changing the role of immigrants on the United States of America. So they're whitening out history all over again. It's already whitewashed. So folks need to be aware of that. So when we have these congressional debates that we typically don't go to, we need to be there. We need to be running these debates, and we need to be asking these questions to find out where the current congressman is with that. Our senators who go down to represent us, we should be asking where they're at with this stuff. State level book ban.
I said Senator Warren, Senator Markey.
Absolutely. Don't shake my hand. Address these issues. We have the state level book bans and curriculum restrictions. There's not one single law, but there's a wave of policies across multiple states that focus on limiting materials related to race, Black history, and identity. Eventually, we're gonna be like, I'm gonna be selling Stolen Legacy by George James on a corner like it's drugs. They're eliminating these books. They're taking them off bookshelves and stores across the country. They're eliminating from school curriculums. We need to be aware of that. There's the economic and equity policies, affirmative action in college admissions. It's been restricted by court ruling. The Supreme Court decision in Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard effectively ended race-conscious admissions. All
right, Daryl's about to go in, so there's a whole bunch of things that we should be conscious about. Listen,
here's the thing.
We're losing people.
I understand that, but folks need to know that here's the thing. I would love to give everybody lollipops and bubble gum and tell them, you're right, Drayton, I should have slowed down. I would love to give people lollipops and bubble gum and say that, shit isn't as serious as it is, but it really is. And these are issues we need to be addressing on a state level. So this is a state election year. We need to be ensuring that Massachusetts is going to continue to support all the things that they've been supporting. And it can't change because our families can't afford it. So to not bring this stuff up and not, give people a quick snapshot summary.
Yeah, but I couldn't hear you anymore because it was too many going so fast. So I think we have another way that we can get the information out to people.
With crayons and coloring books?
Sometimes that's how people learn, through art. I don't know, art and culture. But it's all very important. When I go back and listen, I'm gonna hear it all. But in the moment, it was.
We need to understand we have two different styles. Yeah. My job, and I'm consistent when I was on the radio and stick. I'm gonna throw information out there. And I don't believe in the softball approach either. I'm going to put it out there or I'm not. So I understand we may lose viewers, but I'm hoping people will listen to that, pick up bits and pieces and go research it so we can get this information out, because these are things that need to be addressed.
It's not all important. Everything you said is very important. sometimes you just can't digest it all at once. That's all I'm saying. Some people can, some can't. I can't digest all that information at once. I rather it be written on your page and I can go research it. That way, that's just my way. I'm just saying I was lost. I was lost.
Okay.
It was on me in the moment.
But just for the sake of clarity, I don't do things way. But for the sake of the show, we're gonna keep it moving on. Go for it.
One thing I do want to talk about though that's happening right now is budget hearings. We're gonna bring it back to local budget hearings. Mayor's budget hearings are happening. People can watch them. City councilors can participate in them. I think if you like write to the mayor or something, you might be able to participate too. But those are his budget hearings. And I just wanted to tell y'all real briefly when the next ones are. They are in the mayor's conference room, room 205, 11 to 1:30. I never seen them had security out there before, but police was out there when I went to the budget hearing.
Really?
On Wednesday. But it's 11:30 to 1, the budget hearing. So you learn all about the budgets, where they're going to increase the budget at, what programs they're going to increase the budget at. I mean, this is the time, folks. You can go to 205 and you can ask some questions. I know I am. And blocking my lunchtime out to be right in those budget hearings so I can ask the questions directly to the mayor. So the next one is 11 to 1:30. I will also put the link where you could watch it live on my Facebook page. This is where property tax go up. Like right now, the budget is going to be $1 billion. Okay, we're at a $1 billion budget. I think it was 5 years ago or 7 years ago, we were right around 600,000. We're at $1 billion budget, so it's continually going up, and property tax has to cover it. So if the budget goes up, what do you think is going to happen to property tax? They're going to go up. The mayor got a little bit offended when I said MGM funds, the $2.5 million we get for community reinvestment money, could be used to decrease property tax. Not all of it, but a portion of it, because those funds are now totally in the mayor's control. There was almost $15 million sitting in that account. Daryl, where do you think the most of it went to? If you had a guess.
I'm gonna say parks, police,
downtown reinvestment. Downtown reinvestment for the street, for the private ways, for all these things. Downtown reinvestment. And he got offended. I do stuff for all parts of the city. I didn't say you didn't, but you do the most for downtown. And he had to agree. You can go back and watch it. Focus Springfield taped it. And so you know that I'm telling the truth. And I'm saying, I'm just giving a suggestion on some money that can reduce the tax burden, because it is going to go up. And that was one of the suggestions I had. So, if you can get down there to hear the information for yourselves, do it. If you need to go online and watch, do it. If you need to even go back and replay it for yourselves, this is the time when we should be talking about property tax. So I just wanted to let people know that.
Good stuff. Charles Stokes says, in Springfield, there are more individuals like Melvin Edwards than we openly discuss. Why are those who exhibit unacceptable not being addressed? Black allies of white supremacy have the worst and historically been the reason for our progress. Stokes, I can address that. I think we've had these conversations before. I'm not in the business of dogging Black people publicly. I'm not. That's not me. Those are conversations I have privately. I just know from my experience, when I was working for the mayor, despite all the stuff I was doing for my community, I remember people telling me I was an ally of, white supremacy and I was a sellout. I've heard it all. Although I was doing more than most of the folks who were critiquing me, I was still labeled that. So the thing is, I think everybody has their strategies and their approaches. For those folks who are on the other side of the line and they over-identify with those folks and they're enamored with proximity, it is what it is. I think those are conversations we can have, but to get on the air and start talking about other Black people in leadership roles, folks who are doing whatever it is that they do. I'm not sure who it is you're talking about, but I don't think this is the program. We're trying to galvanize and organize Black voters, not continue to split up our community and have everybody in tight little sects and cults and coalitions and little. We've been there. We've done that. I look at, for years, I could have been working closely with Justin Hurst and the Hurst family and a whole lot of others, had we all taken the time to take our egos and set it aside and just work together. We're more beneficial. We benefit our communities more when we work together. I think the historic model has always been, in the name of Blackness, I think I said it earlier, we always dog Black people. But when we start holding white people accountable, folks feel a little uneasy with that. And it's like, no, let's get back to dogging Black people. I'm not going to do that. There are a lot of folks who I don't agree with, how they want to conduct themselves and how they want to move forward in our community, but it doesn't make them wrong. Doesn't mean I'll ever agree with them. It means I may not even work with them, but I think everybody has that decision to make. I pointed out Melvin because Melvin has done and said some things that are in direct opposition, not just to how I think politically, but in terms of what, would benefit the Black community and how it should move forward. So when someone is blatant about their activity and they display that blatant behavior, then we address it directly. But to just start, pulling out a list of Black people and start critiquing anybody that doesn't fit our mold of Black leadership, Black engagement, or Black involvement, I think that's counterproductive. I'm not good at it. I've never done it. And I don't know. I'm not going to do it today. I'm in the business of developing allies within our community. People I've never worked with who I look forward to working with. So
and I think Melvin Edwards only came up because we were talking about the situation with that happened with me, and he was part of it. So I think that's the reason that his name was even mentioned at all. We're trying to unify here. I'm also not going to get on here and dog Black people. I'm just not built that way traditionally. We were talking about the specific situation, and he was a part of that situation, and that's why he was mentioned. But I did want to read a comment from Nia Johnson. She said, "This is good. I hope future discussions you all have talk about potential upcoming ballot questions." I know a couple ballot questions I want to talk about. One is that housing. What is it, Daryl? The rental. Oh my God, rent increases. Can't even think of it right now. Somebody else will. My mind has these brain fogs.
Well, hopefully we'll bring those folks on and let them talk about it and discuss. I wish I could remember the name, but I can't either.
I can't think of it right now. But somebody please type it in the chat. You know what I'm talking about? Where the rent increases by 2%. Rent control. Thank you, Angela. Rent control. Yes. And Karen Lee said the city has a revenue shortfall. Obviously, one solution is to expand pilot or payment in lieu of taxes. I'm rebranding it as a municipal service contribution. Again, Karen, you agree with that. I don't, because right now pilot have no teeth. When they have teeth, I could support it. I could support even working on it. But right now we can keep having these discussions, but until the legislation on the state level changes it, it's not going to have teeth here. So if the ask is to garner support to help on the state level, I can see that, but to push it through city council, I can't really get behind that one. And I just wanted to say that publicly. Yes, rent control, Katrina and Charles. Thank you. I just could not think of the term. So we do want to have folks on there. We can even have Karen on, because I think her municipal service contribution, I did like that that she put forward to read it. I don't know that it's exactly the same as a pilot, but she does have great ideas, and sometimes we'll agree and sometimes we will disagree, but at least she's thinking and at least she's trying things, and that's what we need more of us to do. Just try new things, like just put it out there. It could come, it can happen, it could come through. Like, just keep pushing it. It takes sometimes 10 years for a legislative change, but you got to be consistent, and Karen is very consistent, and you just got to put yourself out there sometimes, or you got to put it out there. So I'm going to encourage the community to do things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Daryl, we've been on for 1 hour and 4 minutes. I think because we were gone so long, we should try to come back sooner than our what are we, bi-weekly? We've been gone for a while. So maybe 2 weeks or maybe next week, but we'll let y'all know when we'll be back on. We definitely appreciate you joining us this late at night.
Well, before you close off, I just want to remind people this Saturday at the Pamosa African Historical Museum in Tower Square, 2nd floor, 1500 Main Street. There's a leadership and service reception. Again, the goal is to really unite Black voters, get our community together, get organizations, individual leadership folks, influencers involved in working together. We started planning it back in November, but we lost track because we had a war to engage in. I'm just saying, it's Saturday at 6 p.m. It's open to the public. We need our community to come out to be there. The keynote is William Watkins. He's a cultural activist and political strategist from Boston. I think cultural activism is critical. I think political strategy is critical, and we need to bring in subject matter experts to talk about that. There will also be a panel discussion titled "Where to from Here and How." On that panel will be William Zachary, Tanisha from the Black Men of Greater Springfield, Tanisha Arena from Miraz,
Jillian, my girl. Jillian, my girl.
Jillian's on it. Wayman Lee and Stokes. If my brother Charles Stokes, if you're still around, I know you're around. If you're going to be available after we have the show, I just want to send you a text or a phone call to see if you would also sit on that panel with the rest. We want to make sure that we get folks from different spectrums on that panel because we want to have an
honor. What time is it? Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday at 6 p.m.
Okay. So, I think this thing morphed into something different than we originally talked about, but I'll be down there if not for a short time. I do have some other
when we started planning it, this is what we were organizing. So it's the same thing. I'm going from my script from October and November. But this is what it is. So we'll also be recognizing Blacks in public safety. We want to make sure that we acknowledge during the program, we'll be acknowledging Black law enforcement officers because we have to embrace and love our own, make sure they feel supported. We want to make sure that we support our Black elected officials. We want to send a message out to the community at large that we do support our own. And I think we need to start doing things publicly to ensure that people understand that we recognize our street level activists, our public leaders, our elected officials, our public safety folks. So this is happening.
All leaders. And we do come together because you seen the picture that I put with all the Black men standing in the back. I mean, they was protection, okay? And that picture wasn't even all of them. I was late with that picture because I had to come in and calm down the crowd. But if you would have seen how packed it was and how many people were there just in support and standing together, and that was unity. And it was people who were dressed up, people who just got off construction jobs, people who were lawyers, people who were just the gamut of men. That is what the Black men was there, and they stood up. Okay, so I thank you, Black men. I thank you all with all my heart. And they were giving their seats to the women. It was definitely amazing, Angela. It was how it's supposed to be in our community. For us, by us, and.
All right.
And we're going to us again on Saturday, the 21st at Pamosa at 6. Great speakers, a great time. We're coming together. Please join us, even if it's for a short time. Come down, support each other, and let's keep this momentum going.
All right.
Any final words?
I'm good.
All right, then. We'll see y'all next time. Have a blessed night.